Hello. You know what day of the week it is, baby. It's Thursday. We out here talking that tech. Welcome to 2025. I'm so excited. This is basically season 2. I know we kind of teased it like the end of season 1 where we had like a different intro, stuff like that. But this is the real season 2. So I am super excited to be here. Of course, it's me, Duran, aka Dr. Digital. I'm here with my boy Chris, the truest of the techs.
What up, what up, what up?
I'm very excited for this one because we got my boy Dr. One Foot Wood or Driftwood.
I can't believe you remember that.
Of course I remember. Got one of my favorite players, my buddy Nick, is here to join us tonight, and I'm very excited for him to be here. So I'm just gonna basically turn the floor over. Man, I'm just having like a nostalgia rush happen, so I'm gonna try my best.
I was walking around. I had to change shirts because we had to build the bed and drag stuff around. But I they had an EFL shirt on earlier today. I was like, this was not planned. I was over here. I was looking up old highlights and everything from Street Fighter 4 to be like, oh man, it's over a decade.
Yeah, so I want to hear about Mr. I Steal Colorado's Money, Driftwood.
Man, let me start with when we were in Battle Lounge in Street Fighter 6 the other day and I was getting humbled. It felt like that was like revenge from those days. I went like 0-13. No joke. Anyways,
really good. And I was like writing Nick on the side, like, "Hey, dog, don't feel bad. This is really good." MR and
it was like I just thought about it. Anytime I was like, "What I should keep going, because he came in and he took this is just some matches. He came and took all our money, and Duran invited him.
So, Duran, we met because of David, right?
So we met originally because I was a Fei Long player and so was Nick. So like I am the type of player where like I have friends and stuff like that, but I also meet a lot of people. Like if you play my character, I have more interest in you because I'm like, oh, I can learn from you, kind of thing. So I always remember watching like highlights and stuff of Nick and being like, man, this dude's so good. And then David, a mutual friend, he's like, yo, I used to live in Arizona. I know David and a bunch of the guys. And I was like, man, I need you to link me together. And then we just kind of hit it off from there. And I think I randomly was like, dude, you should come out to a tournament. It'd be hype. We need to get you out here. And like, he showed up and basically, I don't even think you dropped a set.
I remember that first tournament and I think I did pretty well. Garrett played Hugo?
Yeah, I think that was the only one where it was close.
Yeah, I mean, he had some good moves. You know what I remember with Garrett was he tried to do I'll get real nerdy for a second. I think he almost took a game on me, but Hugo's pokes are so slow, I just ripped a level 3 into it and stole it back, and I felt a little bit bad about that.
All is fair in love and fighting games.
I think, though, you guys were so welcoming. I loved it. It's not a bad drive from Arizona. And I remember that
was kind of mutual though, because we went to Arizona for Rewired and it was like the same thing. It was just it just felt like Colorado, the different state.
I'm not
I never left home.
I was kind of
on your floor.
We were driving from Phoenix to Tucson, and then on the way back, I'm over here looking at Zillow, like, what's it like out here? After that trip, that's a little legit. It was a little, that's how fun that trip was. I'm glad to hear that. I tell Ryan, Stone Cold Ryan now, but he was Thug Passion back in the day. Literally, we would not be we are very close to this day, and it's only because of that trip. If we didn't do that Arizona trip, we would not be as close as we are now. Because all that hanging out we did, and there is just the vibe. Because it didn't every other tournament, you're at the venue, play a little bit, everything, but that was a whole we're going out, we're going to a bar, we're meeting people, we're hanging, that's very rare. So really formative, to this day. We're going to see MCR in Chicago next this coming August, and he lives in Chicago now. So him and his fiance, me and my wife, are going up there, and we're gonna go see it. And none of this happens if it wasn't for Rewired.
That's awesome, and I have that same experience with other players when I went to tournaments. So that's what we wanted to do with Rewired.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because I'm aging us, but We were
What
like
age?
college kids, like 20s. Like
Yeah, I'm
I
an
remember,
09er
This
for
is the
sure.
stick and art I took to Rewired.
uh,
Wow.
I
I
never
remember
took it
like getting
off.
there and like Nick just being like, "Dog, don't even worry." Like I remember we like crashed on your hotel floor, and it was just like, "Yo, we want to come, we can't afford," and you're like, "Just come,"
Yeah,
kind
just
of
Well,
thing. And
so,
then
man, let me tell you a quick story. Like where I came from when I went to my first Evo, I didn't have any money. And so we're back on, 360s. So I brought some tortillas and these pre-made like ready rice and beans mix. And I thought that every hotel room had a microwave. This was like the only way I could afford to go was I was gonna have to bring all my own food.
oh,
I didn't have any way of cooking it. So we would just put it on the Xbox 360s because they got hot as hell. And I would eat like medium warm rice and beans in a tortilla made on an Xbox.
dude,
So
that's next level. Like
oh my
we had some
goodness.
poverty stories. I remember we all roomed together and we didn't, I mean, there was probably what 6 to 8 of us in one room,
Yeah, there
oh,
was
we've
and
done that
definitely.
we were
too.
on the
Yeah.
floor, so we brought like inflatable
Yeah,
pool
the little
beds.
like the little pool, lounge pool. Yeah, we went to
We just
Walmart.
blew them up and laid on the
Yeah,
floor.
went to
God.
Walmart, got a couple bucks, blew them up, and that was our DIY air mattress. And we
But
waited
I
till
think
someone
that's
had
something
morning
special.
pools. Who has morning pools? Okay, you guys get the bed because as soon as you
Yeah,
leave, one of us
right.
are gonna roll into it.
Oh,
Yeah.
we used to play for who got the bed. So, oh
Oh,
Oh,
man,
that's what we should
Velociraptor
have
would
done.
always
that's what we
sleep in
should.
comfort, and I was on the ground.
But I think that's what makes like fighting games unique is like how many video games do you like play that like y'all go sleep on the floor
How,
just to get an opportunity to play.
how
And you might
many
go
of
0 and 2, like,
anything?
but just to get there to get to go and go play, like, I mean, it's rare, dude. You don't see that with like across other games kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not even games, just life period. Like
yeah.
again, if outside of tournaments, the traveling I've done has been pretty much either occasionally vacation, but usually it's like family. I got family in Washington, so we're gonna make a trip of it. I got family, in Chicago, so we'll make a trip of it, etc. But outside of that, and straight up vacation, that's the only traveling I did. But because of fighting games, I got to go places, visit places. Still need to get out of this country. I still haven't left the states as an adult yet, so I need to get on that. But all the, like the traveling, I have been, like I said, Washington recently for family. Illinois recently. Well, that was a couple years ago. That was family, and then every other trip traveling I've done has been for fighting games.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, every time I've had a life, like, so I've lived a little bit in New York, and then I did a couple years in California. And luckily at the time, there was the rivalry between New York and California in Street Fighter 4. So, like, on one side, you had Next Level, that was New York, and it was like, you know, man, who I used to play with like Aqua Silk and those guys, and like Henry Sen.
Mhm.
And then when I moved to California, now I'm playing with like Valle, Chris T, Brent, Snake Eyes, and James. That's how I got James Chen and stuff to come to Rewired.
Okay. I
Um,
always wondered that because he was there like commentating, and I was like, damn, this is
that's
dope.
like what that's the cool thing is like it's not like there's these celebrities in the scene, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
But this thing that we're talking about right now, like everybody just wants to travel and like meet people and play games and have fun. And like even James Chen and Ultra David, they just wanted to come to Tucson, have some Sonoran hot dogs, commentate some video games, and have a good time. Like, and they were not like too big to do that. Same with Snake Eyes, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And because we've had like a couple of special guests on before, and like same thing. Like all I did was send them an email, like, "Yo, would you like to be on?" And they're like, "Hell yeah, I ain't doing nothing. Let's do it," kind of thing. And it's just, like cool to hear that because you like in your mind you think of like these top players, and you're like, "Oh, they don't want to be on or
Yeah,
whatever. They don't,
especially
why?"
now.
Yeah,
Like,
and just to
yeah.
still see that where you reach out to somebody and they're just like, "Yeah, dude, I'm down. Let's run it," kind of thing. So I'm kind of happy to see that and hear that. So I would love to hear maybe like more of your backstory, like what
Sure.
got you into fighting games, and then we'll kind of branch out to that because I always love to hear people's story, like how we connected and things like that. We already kind of addressed that, so I'd love to go over, you know, what got you into fighting games.
Totally. I'd always kind of played fighting games, but not like at a serious level. I remember playing like Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo. And like I would mess around with my dad and whatever. I had like a shoebox full of games, and we'd bring that out from time to time. And then my small friend group from middle school, we got pretty into Super Smash Melee, and in our own scene, you know. So that was kind of like my first introduction to like those two games. I'm gonna use Smash as a fighting game. I'm one of those. I count it. Um, and it was, and then so that was like my background with the genre. And then in college, my freshman year, Velociraptor. I lived with John Guerrero, Velociraptor. He played Goken. We got like a GameStop ad, and it said Street Fighter 4 was coming out. So we called the nearest GameStop, and they were like, "Yeah, we got it. We're doing this opening party. You want to come pick it up?" So we decided, yeah, it was like down the road from us. They had a tournament, and if you win, you get the game for free. So we are pretty big gamers. Velociraptor has won like Guitar Hero contests, things like that. So we thought we could do it, but no, because there was this crew of dudes. They had posters for this thing called Arcade in a Box, which we did not know what that was, and they just kicked our ass. So that was bad, but they invited us to come play there. We picked up the game. I didn't know what an arcade stick was. They all had arcade sticks. And that's how we got connected into the scene. So we started going to the Arcade in a Box tournaments. And that was like a group of people who, back then, they didn't even have the Mad Cat sticks. So this guy named Arcade Ed was making his own arcade sticks and shipping them all around the country. These guys helped him build them. And then they just played video games after. So there was like a little Street Fighter like cult, if you will. And that's who I learned from. I just remember trying to do like FADCs on pad, and it was like so hard. But at the time, I mean, I didn't know how good they were. I'm sitting there playing, and we used to do these like rotations, you know, winner stays on. And there was this rule for this one guy where if he went through the whole group of people, and there were like 15 guys sometimes, if he went through everyone twice, then he had to step off so other people could play. And it was called the Latif rule because it was legit Latif, and we would just
I was
get
sitting here
bodied by
waiting for the
him.
name. Like, who's he gonna name?
I was like, it took me a minute because I was like Arizona, and I took me, it's like, oh yeah.
So that was like the year before he got a second at Evo.
That was a crazy run, dude. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, really exciting.
because a lot of
But
people
yeah,
didn't know. Like, I didn't know who Latif was until that year, and then
That
like
was
I
like,
remember him just like
I
that's
knew
why
because
Evo's
of
so
Guilty
hype.
Gear, and
yeah.
was friends with Coogie. I stayed with Coogie that year that he got second. I was staying with Coogie at Evo that year, so I knew of him as a Guilty Gear player. I knew he was good. Like again, kind of like if you're good at one game, you can kind of get over. But I know he was like that.
Yeah, like he's the
And I
truth.
played
There's like
Viper.
Japanese videos of him.
And I played Viper. I was like, yeah, he's good. He's really good. But then he gets second. I was like, oh my god.
So that was how I got into fighting games, and honestly, it was like so much fun to have something to do with my roommate. You know, we threw down all the time. Who's gonna do dishes? Whatever. We're playing Street Fighter,
But you knew
etc.
John before like you guys got into.
Yeah,
Okay.
we went to high school together. We were in like a film club, and we both went to college for film. So
Okay.
we were in like classes together, whatever. Honestly, we used to skip class to play Street Fighter all the time. We got like deep. Um, and then luckily, so we did that for like, I don't know, 6 years or so before we both end up graduating. And if you work in film, where are you going to move? Well, you're going to go to California, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So we both moved to California. He actually moved a year before me. And that was cool because he sort of got to be friends with everyone you would expect. So Valle, Chris T, Brent, the Wednesday Night Fights crew.
Mm.
When I came over there, I will say the scene plays differently. It's been really cool to adjust to different local scenes. And that made me a stronger player at that time. Like I haven't traveled as much to play Street Fighter 6, so I don't know like what else is out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that time though, online was not like the real game.
Yeah.
So traveling made you way better.
Yeah.
Dude, it kind of
Um,
makes me sad now because you like my drive for Street Fighter is not as what it used to be because everything is so online, and I'm not a big like I'll play online, but like I play to play with like the boys and like in
yeah.
person, and like it's just different because I mean, you can hear things and see things, and and you can't see that online. And it's just everything is so online focused now that it's kind of like, oh, you want to get practicing? Cool, just see me online. And you're like, okay, kind of thing. And I just kind of miss that. Like, man, I remember we used to play like in my basement, and it'd be like 6 of us, like in the basement, in my
Forever.
bedroom,
I used to keep a
just
sleeping
playing
bag
play.
in the car just in case, because
Yeah,
we might just end up staying over at Duran's.
yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, I just had the sleeping bag ready because it might just be, "Hey, okay, we're playing. Okay, parents says it's cool. We stay because like in Duran, literally the basement is too. He might as well have had his own wing of the house because he's in
Yeah,
the
it's
basement
pretty
by
big.
here. And then yeah, it was like, yo, they don't care. We're not rude, whatever. We're just down there playing games, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely
Like
many a
shout out to
night.
Mom Dukes and Dad, because like, bro, we used to get hype in this fucking basement.
So
Like,
like, I've gone
We would
back and
do.
watched some of those matches like somewhat recently, and one to be like, damn, I was bad, but two to be like, yo, we were talking so much shit to each other. We're friends.
yeah.
We would do play until Arcade in a Box closed, which I think was like 1 a.m. And then we would go to I think it was an IHOP because they were open 24 hours, and we could start watching SBO. So I wouldn't go home until like 6 in the morning. And then
Yep.
when I would go to Wednesday night fights in Walnut, California, that was like a 45-mile drive from where I lived.
Ooh,
So it took me like
45 in
2 hours to
California
get there.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Like a long time. So everyone would go to Denny's after, and then we would drive home at like 4 in the morning because there was no traffic. Um, but you got a lot of games in, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
I remember we had a buddy get he was like one of the first friends to get his own house. And like, he was basically like, house is open as long as y'all are respectful, do what you want. And like, bro, it was, you just go in this dude's house and it was setups everywhere kind of thing. And like, we would just play. And like, it's funny you say IHOP, because like, we literally have some of like, I feel like some of the old school Colorado Springs most famous quotes are at in like an IHOP parking lot, because we're all just gathered around talking shit. Like, that's what it was kind of thing.
Well, so a big part of yeah, you were kind of talking about online a little bit, and I know that that touches on a topic we're going to talk about, but I like the rivalry between communities, even if it's
Mhm.
just for fun. When I started, there was a rivalry between Tucson and Phoenix, like an hour and a half apart. And that motivated everyone to get better. And we used to do all kinds of events. There was like an A league and a B league. So you didn't have to be the best player. You got opportunities, even if you were, up and coming or whatever, to do like these exhibitions. We used to do bar fights. We would literally go to a bar and set up like an undercard and a title card match, and then everyone would just be like yelling. Arizona's kind of known for being a little rowdy. I mean, we got yelled at Evo before. I have this video of me playing against some Honda, and I'm losing, but it's like 1-1, and I hit a Rekka into the corner, and suddenly everyone behind us just starts going, "What are you gonna do? You're in the corner!" And like literally, they're just saying the word corner over and over, and you can see the dude like trying to like look back and tell them to shut up, and I end up winning the game. It's just like a rowdy group, you know?
Bro, I miss that shit. I'm old, man. Like, I feel like you go to tournaments now and it's like, you can't even like talk smack at all. Like, it's very PG.
I will
Like,
say Springs
Yeah,
has kept it. Springs, I'm proud of New Springs right now. They're doing it their own way, but anyone, if you're out there and you happen to see some Guilty Gear players and you see someone with a giant Fred Durst flag in the back, that's Colorado Springs. Fred
I
Burst.
red burst, right?
Yeah, Fred Burst.
that's so funny. I want to keep it alive, so I didn't really like Street Fighter V, and that was kind of why I dropped out of the scene for a bit. I tried to play it, but I don't know. I think the end of Street Fighter V, I started to like it again.
Yeah,
Felt
I
like a
agree,
better
dude. Like,
game.
so I moved to Texas almost 9 years ago, and I played Street Fighter 5, but the only five I played was like, I had a coworker who was like getting in to Street Fighter. Like, he's always loved it, but like he finally was like, I want to understand what's going on, kind of thing. And like, I was helping him, and we used to play Fridays after work, and that was the only time I played, because it was just like, it sucked too, because like Karen's one of my favorite characters, and she was
I
actually
like
in the
her, yeah.
game.
It's
Yeah,
so
and
funny
it
how
was
we play
just,
the same characters,
yeah.
man.
That's why when you say Ken, I was like, ugh, I play
I
Ken in
know.
six.
Right
I
there.
really want I want Fei Long back. I don't know how long I gotta wait.
Same, dude. And that's how I was literally just telling a friend that because I'm like, you guys are complaining because you haven't seen a character since 5 or whatever. I'm like, dude, Faye hasn't been in a game in like 15 years, dude. Because like
Yeah.
he was vanilla Street Fighter 4 was like his announcement, and like just sitting here waiting, kind of thing.
I
So
mean,
it's
it's perfect.
So
There's no
I
Rekka
sold
character
out.
right now.
I was like, I'll just play top tier. Jamie is not the same. The Rekkas don't
Yeah,
work.
yeah, it's not the
yeah,
same.
he's dope. I like Jamie's design, but he's
Yeah.
not. He doesn't fill what I want out of that archetype
Yeah.
character. So, all right. So we'll kind of roll into the next question. I already kind of know what you do, but I like to talk about
Yeah.
what you do is super cool. Because I haven't met anybody in the fighting game community that does something as competitively as this outside of fighting games. So I gotta ask you, is there anything else that you do besides fighting games?
This is true. Yeah, I am a competitive fencer and also a fencing coach. So I got into that before fighting games. I was like 13 years old. I tried other sports and like nothing clicked, Till again, I have a film background. I love movies. I watched like Princess Bride a lot as a kid. And my dad was like, "You should try sword fighting out. This is what fencing is." So I went and tried it
Oh,
out.
that's pretty cool.
I always
I didn't
plugged
know
it.
that. That's why I'm like, the floor is yours. Like, how did you get to fencing kind of thing? Because I watch your videos because you used to post them all the time, and I'm like, it's
Mhm.
cool as shit to watch, but it's like, how did he end up on fencing of all things?
Well, here's a weird thing, right? There's actually an Olympian. He's from Canada. His name's Eli Schenkel, and he runs a YouTube channel called S Class. It's not a very like popular YouTube channel or anything. It's like the niche of niches, right? Like fencing is a small community. So when the fighting game community is talking about how like, oh man, our scene is so small, I'm like, no, it isn't. Like, but he's actually a fighting gamer. He's more on the Smash side of things, but he
Okay.
posts videos that talk about the similarities between fencing and fighting games.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's like, I mean, you think about it, it's a lateral thing. You're moving back and forth.
Yeah.
In fencing, we have this thing, you try to make your opponent fall short. Means like they don't hit you because they miss you. It's the exact same thing as trying to like whiff punish.
I was like, my man's playing real life footsies. Dude.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just footsies. And we don't have like we have high lows, but we also have left rights. So that's like
So you guys have like cables that come off your back,
Yeah.
right?
So
So is that like you move forward and it pulls them back, or is it just
no, that'd be cool though. It is those cables are connected to our blades. There's a tip
okay?
that doesn't take much pressure at all. Here's like a gory fact for you. Uh there's 3 different weapons, but the one that I primarily fence is called foil. And once there's 500 grams of pressure, which is like the same amount that it takes to like click a pen, right?
Okay.
The tip will go off. And that's how the reason it's that much is that's how little weight it takes for a blade to go in you.
Ah,
So it's pretty metal when you think about it.
yeah.
But once you hit, actually the signal goes back through those cables and up to the score box, and you can tell where you hit on the body.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Because
that's
I've
cool.
watched, but like I said, I've never
Yeah.
like deep dived into it, and I'm like, what is this cable?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely one of the Olympic sports that I like when it's on. It's like curling, fencing, like honestly kayaking, all the sports that I'll never watch otherwise. The Olympics on, I'm like I'm sitting there like yeah, cheering on countries I've never heard of. and everything.
There's so much like there is so much crossover, and I think I kind of collect eccentric hobbies a little bit, and I like how hard fencing is. I also like how hard fighting games are.
Hmm.
I mean, uh, like, there's times where I play Street Fighter and I don't think I have fun. Like I do, but I'm like frustrated because oh my God, I'm trying to do this thing. But once you can, you have the sense of reward that I get in a way that I don't get with other games. Or
Yeah.
and
We
I
have
get
that.
the same thing out of fencing,
Yeah, we have that in our community now. Like, we have a bunch of like newer players, and they're just like frustrated, and they're like, "How do I get better? I'm just not getting there." I'm like, "Dude, you've been playing for a year. Like,
Right,
calm
right.
down." Like,
And I've had a cool crossover between the two things. So when you get farther in a fencing tournament, they put you on a stage. It's like similar to like if you're at Evo and you got to play on the stage, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I used to do so bad when I would get to that portion of a fencing tournament because at that point I'd be kind of tired. You know, it's further in the day. You've been like working out, you're exhausted, and now a bunch of people are watching you. And I would just get in this weird headspace where it's like people aren't seeing me at my best, but there's nothing I can do about it, right? And then one year, it's before I switched to Fei Long. I played Abel,
Mm.
and I went against Shin Chang, who played Akuma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like AE 2012, like the most busted version of Street Fighter 4. I just got option select Vortex until a double perfect on the main Evo stage, which is like that's the worst experience you can have on the Evo stage, right?
Mm.
But going through that, I learned it didn't matter, right? And what were my options? I was like, okay, I want to explore some other characters. I started tinkering with Faye, learned way more about the game, and got way better. And next time I got up on stage, I actually had won a match, and that's when I started being able to like. I was always kind of like a crack top. I could crack like top 16, that sort of round. Like at NCR, I cracked top 8. Same with Absolute Battle. And I won Wednesday Night Fights once, which I think was like my favorite.
I do remember
So
that. Yep.
that was like kind of the level I played at, but I don't think I would ever had that experience if I didn't like get bodied. And then I could take that to fencing, and when I got onto the main stage at fencing because I was getting further, I didn't have those nerves anymore.
Hmm.
So I think it's just kind of cool how you can take something from one discipline and then like apply it to something else.
So what you're telling me you actually learned was to go play a top tier? Playing Able, playing Veilon.
I will say that definitely helped. What sucks in fencing is you can't just like change. You know,
Right.
like you're stuck in your body. You're not changing characters. But you can learn and like and definitely like apply new skills.
Yeah, that's
Now,
awesome,
now,
dude.
even now, like in Street Fighter 6, playing Ken, it's like I've never had a character with a fireball, and so I'm like learning how to throw fireballs 15 years into a franchise, and I
Yeah,
find that
and a very rush down heavy game.
I'm
And like
okay with the
fireballs
rush
are
down.
good, but like parry exists, and it's just like it's a different fireball game than any other Street Fighter. So it's like you're learning even more advanced fireballs because it's not like, oh, crouch medium kick fireballs over and over again and I'm gonna
Right,
space
right.
you, and it's just a different beast kind of thing. So I get it because like
So
I played Chun as well. So she's always had a fireball, but now I play Jury, but and her fireball is like weird. Like it's really good, but it's really weird too because it's like slow and it just goes across the ground, and like everyone's like always telling me to throw more fireballs, and I'm like, I throw fireballs and I get jumped in on, so I don't throw fireballs. And I know it's a me thing because I'm not doing it right, but I still don't understand the proper time to like, oh, I should throw a fireball now kind
where
of
do you
thing.
do it? Yeah, like I'm still going through all of that. I fluctuate points all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm like at 1700, I'm killing it, and then it's like, why am I back down to 1550? What am I doing wrong? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, last week I'm streaming. I
Oh
started
no.
at 1916. I ended at 1740 or so. I just got back up to 1800 today.
Yo, what is the difference? How do you go from 1750 is my cap and like that next 50 points I'm just like
Bro,
okay, I need
it's like
there's some magic
it's
there.
like all of a sudden you're like, all of you know how to fight this, all of you know how to do this, all of a sudden you all know how to parry this, and now I gotta figure it out again. Everyone knows how to check drive rush all of a sudden. I was doing good when they now everybody I run into knows how to check drive rush, and now I gotta adjust, and I am not good at adjusting in a match. Like because we play like a first to five, I can like even if someone's really strong, I can usually figure something out. Getting 2 out of 3 is not my strong suit at all, which is one of the reasons I play ranked as much as possible. But yeah, it's like all it takes is one bad day, and then I'm like, well, these points. If I'm at a tournament, I can't just like, I'm not gonna just quit. I'm gonna try to figure it out, and that figured out did not happen. But yeah,
I don't love 2 out of 3 in this game either just because the damage is so volatile,
Oh
but
yeah.
I feel like it's okay. Like
I agree.
I would prefer maybe the damage to be a little bit higher scaled. I want to play a little bit more neutral. I don't know
wouldn't
how we do
surprise me
that.
because I remember Street Fighter V went through the same thing where
Mhm.
like it was just crazy damage. Excuse me. And then by the end of the game, like damage kind of balanced out. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw that like through 6 where it's like you start seeing normals do less damage kind of thing and like
Yeah.
rounds lasting a little longer because we already kind of saw it with like the jab nerfs and then we
Mhm.
saw it with like super nerfs where they're not as much damage kind of thing. So I'm curious to see like what the game looks like in maybe 2 years where it's
Yeah.
kind of like
It's funny because if you look at Rashid, who a lot of people consider top 1 right now,
Yeah, he's
outside of
bodying
level
me.
2, Rashid's like the only character in the game like that has to hit you more times than Kimberly does. Like his just regular, I'm gonna hit just regular like a bare. I just caught a random hit damage. Is not great. And so, like, clearly you could go that way. You could go that route and still be very good because a lot of people consider him top 1. I don't know if I quite agree with that. I think he's still top 5, but yeah, like just his regular I hit you off a random hit, not doing too much. Just
Sure.
setups
Lesser
and
Nemo,
yeah.
like those new corner level 2 setups are
Yeah, now level
disgusting.
two,
But
level two. I don't know what's the hell they're doing there. How come level two does not go away when he gets hit? That's all I need. I don't even care if anything else changes. Level two go away when he gets hit, and I'm fine.
yeah, I
Like,
don't know. It in fact, that's my hope that Street Fighter 6 heads that way, but I still think what I like is that fighting games can be a reflection of like your personality. I like to play really disrespectfully. And if I can find a way to do it, I'm going to do it. That's what's fun for me. Like I like resetting someone in the middle of a combo with a command grab and then just them being like, "Oh my god, why?" You know?
I
Um
don't know if I would put that like I see what you're saying, but I don't see you as like a disrespectful person. So when you say
well,
like personality, and I'm like,
no, it's
I
just
can
like
see it in the play.
I treat fighting games as like an alter ego for myself, you know? And
Okay.
in person, I want to be friendly. Like I'm not trying to be a dick. But I like being showboaty, and like I mean, I can. You know, when I came out to, I did a tournament in Albuquerque. I'll give you two examples. I did a tournament in Albuquerque, and they had known that I beat them at one tournament, and so then when I was coming back, I posted that this person was coming, and I did it in a like who's that Pokemon way where I took a like silhouette picture of me and just posted it in their Facebook group. Like, who's that Pokemon is going to be at your tournament? Just to be a nightmare. And I started posting after I would win. I'd drive home to Hatch, New Mexico, and they didn't have trophies or anything. So I'd buy a bag of chilies and like a weird lawn ornament made out of scrap metal, like it'd be like of a pig. And I would send them a picture like, thanks for the new lawn ornament I bought with the prize pool. Um, because I wanted to stoke the rivalry, you know? And
Right.
that's it's just fun. So disrespectful in that way, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a
Fair.
double-edged sword. Like when I lose, I lose.
Like what is your thoughts on like the current FGC? Because I know we started with 4 and we've kind of I think all 3 of us honestly kind of were like, we played a little bit of 5, but kind of took a break, played other things, did life kind
yeah,
of situations.
pretty
But I feel
much.
like
Like
6 is
I thought 5 was okay. That was the thing. I thought 5
yeah,
was okay, but then we got a bunch of games that are really good. And I was playing a bunch of anime stuff. I was playing Guilty Gear. I was playing Inner Night, and then Dragon Ball came out, and I was like, why would I play this okay game when I
yeah,
have
I agree.
Dragon Ball? And until 6 came, like season 3 or so of 5, like I was like, yes, I love Karen. I'm happy to have her in the game. And now I've had 2, 3 years of her. She's not really changed. This game hasn't changed too much. Why would I want to fight Abel? Or not Abigail?
Mhm.
Why would I want to fight you?
Yeah,
Let me go play
I like
Cell
that
and
match.
I
Gotenks.
hate that character so much,
Yeah,
dude.
let me go play Gotenks instead, bro.
I it's pretty rare. I mean, I say like, oh, I hate this character in Street Fighter, but like I genuinely hate it. Like, and I feel like Capcom always makes one character every
Yeah.
Street Fighter that I hate. Like I hated Hakan. I hated his design. I thought it was
Okay.
such a waste of character slot. And then like Abigail in 5, same thing. Where I'm like, why do you keep making this big like goofy dumb characters when like I want Fei Long. So it's probably like a little bit of like animosity towards them. Like, just give me my character, please.
Fei Long always comes up on like forums and stuff. It's like, who you want to see? Because I'm a big Bruce Lee fan
Of
too,
course, yeah.
Yeah.
and so like I gotta play him.
Yeah. And it's
I'm
frustrating too because it's like they do these surveys and these polls and they're like, what characters do you want to see? And then like everybody fills it out and then these characters win and they don't put them in the game.
and
Like
Faye's always
Faye's
like
always
top
on there.
16, and there's 35 characters in the game. Where is he?
Yeah.
Where's she
Like
at?
Faye, Makoto,
Where's she at?
Reaper, all
Why?
three
Why
of
do you have
them.
you tease me like 2 games
Yeah.
in a row?
All three of them are always in that top 16 kind of area. And they're like, nope, here's Rose or something like that. And I'm like, cool.
Rugal's
Thanks.
happy. That's it.
Right.
I've been thinking about your question, and I'll say I'm lucky. We still have a small group of people that get together to play offline. We play, it's like the weirdest place ever, at a police station that has like a community room. So we literally go there, and it's like after hours, so there's no cops. But like,
Because I was already thinking you have fun with that.
I'm gonna say there are some activities that are legal now that do occur, and there's no problems. But so we play in this room. It's got a cool like projector we put up. Usually, like it's half Tekken heads and half Street Fighter, and then there's a couple dudes. I don't know if you remember Chris Fromo. He's like a Street Fighter 2 ride or die Blanca player.
Name sounds
And
familiar, but I don't.
He's really good. I can't remember how high he's placed, but I know he's like beaten Daigo in Street Fighter 2. Like he's good.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, the ST players that still play. Oh my god.
Yeah. And
police station, and I'm a big Resident Evil fan, so I'm automatically like, "Yo, what, Resident Evil 2? We're in the police station!" Like,
just before
so
this weekend.
we play there, and we start at like 8 p.m. and go till like, I don't know, midnight or 1. So a little bit of the magic is alive. There's been a couple digital events we've done with Phoenix to sort of like start to bring back that rivalry. And for a time, Velociraptor was doing some tournaments, actually still at that police station. That was like my return to Street Fighter World when I had been practicing Ken, and the Barbie movie just came out. So I bought a martial arts gi and I dyed it hot pink.
oh no.
And then they called my name, but I signed up for the tournament as Maximum Kenergy instead of Driftwood. And I wore the hot pink gi and played the Barbie scene, the Ken song, over the loudspeakers. I was like, amen. But like 3 people were my friends from the old days, and they were like laughing because they know me, and this is like what I do. And everybody else was like, who the hell is this guy? So
Enough, dog.
I think there's like opportunity for a little bit more of the like in-person stuff. We're trying to figure out, I think, in the community right now how to do large scale and still keep small scale grassroots. I think there are some events, like I really like Capcom Cup. I don't know, like I was at the first Capcom Cup in the audience in San Francisco, and fun fact, if you listen to that and you hear Ultra David and James Chen say "cats out of the bag" in commentary, it's because we told them every time they say that phrase, we'll take a drink. So there's that phrase is said a lot during the first Pro Tour finals.
The highest level of Street Fighter possible, and we're having drinking games, and nobody knew.
And the commentators are in on it. I think that what I will say that I'm excited about is I remember thinking, what would happen if like this SoCal player could play against this Japanese player, and we could, like, how do we bridge that gap? Online is great for that now. Like I was watching replays of Chris T playing against Tokido, and like there's no lag, and they're just doing long sets, and we can watch them. So like the online tools are better. I think we just, as a community, need to make sure that it doesn't like stop us from gathering. Like you're talking about getting together for Evo. That's important,
Mm-hmm. And it's weird too because like you spoke to like Capcom Cup, for example, and like we've kind of had conversations about that on the show previously. And like one of the biggest gripes we have is like, man, I remember like back in the day, I felt like there was a fighting game tournament every other weekend, like a big
Yeah,
tournament. And now it's like
there
there's
is, but it's
five.
online, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
every
everything's
yeah.
online now. And I feel like there's five tournaments for the whole year now. And it's just like, man, I miss that like, oh, I got done running errands, doing what I need to do. It's Saturday. I just got home. Let me put on this tournament to watch. And now it's just like, see you in 3 months. And I'm like, damn, I want to watch like some high level hypeness and it not be like, I miss the pop offs. Like everyone gives like
Yeah.
Noah the Prodigy a hard time. And I'm like, bro, I just think it's dope because he's still bringing the hype and like we just don't see
God,
that
I
in that.
hate him and I love him. Every
Same.
time I
Same.
haven't beat him online and he just one and dones me and I'm so
He did that
pissed.
today. To me today, like
Yeah,
I
but then
have
I'm
name
like,
turned off, but
but
I
I
saw
got
Luke,
bopped.
and he left. I was like, but let me try, let me adjust, let me do something. And no, immediate. I was like, as soon as you left, I was like, oh, that must have been Noah.
I used to hate Mena RD for the same reason. Like, I don't know why. You know what it is? It's like the culture of fighting games in Street Fighter 4 was so raunchy, but fencing is really not. Like, fencing is like you salute your opponent. There's
Yeah.
a rule. You're not supposed to talk when you fence. I
Really?
I break that rule all the time and I see if the referee calls me, but I compliment my opponent. Like as I'm fencing, I'm like, "Oh, nice." Right?
Yeah.
And it comes from me playing fighting games. And I only every once in a while get like a referee who's a dick about it. But
So is it just
like
during the match, but afterwards you can.
afterwards you can go
Yeah,
up and talk
totally.
and whatever, but you're not allowed to like trash talk. Like that would be a cardable offense.
Okay, because I've seen a couple of hype videos where like the match is over and somebody rips their
Yeah,
mask off and
and
they're
they
like,
get a black card. You can get like carded for that, but they do it, right?
okay.
Um
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
we have like a bad boy who's like our Noah the Prodigy. He's called Miles Chamley Watson. He's an Olympian for USA, but he's also sponsored by Red Bull,
No.
and he's known for like pop offs. But he'll like style on you too. Like he'll hit behind his back, just really cool stuff. Um,
I'm
so
always intrigued by this. So I'm typing this dude's name down so I
yeah,
can look him up.
he's like the bad boy of fencing. He's also a model, so like don't look too. You'll be like sad about how not buff you are.
I'll be sad. Like, I mean, he's already sword fighting and hitting you behind the back while sword fighting. Like, who didn't have? I
And
don't
then
know
he's got
about
to
y'all.
leave so he can like be on Vogue's cover, and you're like, okay.
That's like, I
Some people are built
still
different.
give me the right cardboard tube. I'm still alright, so to this day. So already you got that, and you're playing. I was like, I'll take your picture.
But I miss the pop-offs too. Like I do
This is
really
hype,
miss
man.
that.
Like it's because I was the shit talker. I've never been like the best player or anything like that. But like, man, if we're somewhere and my homeboy's playing, you're gonna hear it, kind of thing. Because like
Yep.
like I've put in the work to play with them and be there and drive up with them, and like that's what we were. Like you were gonna hear the hype. Like go ask what's his face? What was his name? Karasa. Go
Oh,
ask Karasa about Colorado because he got second at Evo and TVC, and he thought he was going to come to Colorado and just take our money, and that dude left crying. So,
like
like,
legit.
we,
He was out in the hallway, teared up because we were
yeah,
going crazy. I used to keep a kendo stick in the car, and because I would just slam it against the ground to make noise in tournaments, and just you hear bang bang bang, and he's getting hit, the combo's hitting, and we're in line, and the cow you yeah. And the pot bonus was specifically to get him to come out. Like
yeah.
they raised like $1,000 pot bonus, and he's like, yeah, that's enough that I'll fly out from Chicago. And the pot bonus was winner, like first place winner takes the full pot bonus, and so he went
And let's
home
just
with
say
his
he ran
second
into
place.
Colorado, and he ran into Smiles, and Smiles was like, "Nah, dog." And Smiles, I don't know if you know a lot about Smiles, but Smiles used to play like he is the definition of he's gonna play what he wants to play. Like he
Mm.
didn't play top tier or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
he played Alex, and Alex
Until he
was
did,
okay.
and then I
Yeah,
never beat him in third strike.
yeah.
I beat. He used to play whatever. He used to play Hugo in third strike, and he would win. And then we started getting good, and then I beat him, and then he started picking Ken, and I never beat him in tournament again.
All right, we got
No.
a couple more questions. I do want to.
Oh, my
We got
bad.
3 left. I do want to get to all of them.
All right, I got it. Speed
We
round.
kind of spoke on this earlier, but I would love to hear your because we kind of talked about like we didn't really like 5. You know, we came from 4. What are your thoughts on 6? Because I feel like people say, "Oh, it's not Street Fighter." I'm like, "Dog, every Street Fighter is so different than the previous Street Fighter." So when you say it's not Street Fighter, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me. So I would love just to hear kind of like what's your thoughts on 6?
I like 6, to be honest. If I had to rank them, I mean, 4 was my first, so it's gonna go 4 and then 6. But there's more neutral. Like whiff punishing is rewarding. I like that in the game. I think there's room for the cast to be developed, but that's happening. I think that where 6 started off is further than like 4 started and had all these issues. There were unblockables, like just nonsense.
Yeah.
Really,
Great ultras.
the damage was crazy. The balance sucked, and then those problems existed all the way until the very last version, and we just dealt with it.
Mhm.
6 is like, okay, yeah, you got like think about the list of things that sucked in 4, and when you think about that list here, it was like in 6 it was Luke's medium punch sucks, and Rashid's level 2. Like, there's not that much more,
Yeah.
No,
People don't like throw loops. Okay.
Yeah. Compared to I'll take a bunch of throws and I guess gotta guess right once to get out versus infinite.
Like in Street Fighter 2, you got thrown twice and died.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
why people say that because like
You
people
teched
love
and took
ST.
damage in Street Fighter 2. You could tech a throw and die.
Yeah, people like, Street Fighter 2 is so great, and I go and play Street Fighter 2. I am not good at it by any means, but I play it and I'm like, this thing is so broken. It is insane.
Yeah.
Like you get stunned, and I'm like, I don't even know why I got stunned. I've only been hit twice, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I'm stunned.
Well, that's the thing. They don't know why you got stunned either because the game has RNG stun.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
You just got bad luck, literally.
You look at 6 and like 6, and even like compared to 5, like I feel like 6 launched at where 5 was, and it took 7 years to get to that point where like people played 5 when it first came out, and it was like unbalanced. It was a half of a game. Like it was just a very shell of itself, and I feel like they just threw it out. And I've said from the very beginning that 6 to me feels like an apology letter for 5, because 6 is so well developed, and they just, I mean, even down to like the animation, there's so many little things that they have in the game that I'm like, you can see Capcom. I've said that Street Fighter 5 in my opinion lacks soul, and like 6 feels like it has a soul. Like you play 6 and you can see what they were going for, and they stuck to it from the beginning. Like the art style, the music, the characters, the system, like they really dived into that. And like 5 to me just felt like, oh, it was 4, but we added V system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the game is built more. I know that like we just complained about playing online, but like sometimes you're going to play online. And so if you're doing that, you want it to be good. I think it's way more stable than 4 ever was.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, for sure.
Battle Lounge is cool. I just want to see maybe some more modes that would be fun for like team battles. Like 4 used to have team battles and stuff.
Mhm.
But it feels more. It does feel like it's a love letter to the community. And the community is always going to complain about what needs to happen with the game to make it more fair and more balanced. That's like the job of the community, right? Of the people who play the game. But like people are playing it. So
yeah. And still playing it. Like to have a game be out a year later and like the community is still fully embracing it and still pulling good numbers. Shit, Chris is still playing it. Like that says a lot about how good it is.
That says a lot. You look at my
Still got
YouTube.
back Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you look at my
One of the
YouTube.
best players I know, and he'll be like, I'm done. And I'm like, dog, don't quit.
You look at my YouTube, it'll be like every year you can see what game I'm currently playing. Dragon Ball definitely was one of those ones where you're like, oh man, you played Dragon Ball for a while. You kept playing. I'm at 2,500 hours of Dragon Ball on Steam. I'm at like 22 with Street Fighter 6. Like,
See if I can check.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm only at like, I literally looked the other night. I'm like 450 or something like that.
Like this.
I don't even know where to check, to be honest. I'm such a PC noob.
if you open Steam,
Just go to
and
the
you
I
just
see.
game.
go like,
I'm at
Yeah.
975 hours.
Nice. Yeah. See. Yeah. Like that's and then again I work if you worked remote full time so as soon as something you get an idea. Hold on. Let me lab this real quick. Let me hour long break, hour long lunch. Let's go ahead and try to get some.
Right.
So that definitely yeah
Tuesday,
that's
Thursdays, I'm remote, and yeah, hella games on lunch.
yeah.
yeah,
My Street Fighter 5, I only have 160 hours on.
yeah, yeah, I believe it, dude. All right, so I loved Rewired. Everybody knows that. Probably one of my like, honest to God, one of my favorite memories. I remember getting there and like the tournament was fucking dope. I remember the venue was so sick, and it's just to see because I know you had like a really big hand in like basically running this tournament. And I've ran tournaments, Chris has ran tournaments, and people don't understand the amount of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
So to see like a local, because like I mean, Arizona isn't like Cali and New York, and so to see a
Right.
smaller kind of thing and be like, yo, this dude just did this sick ass tournament and like had a huge show out, had like dope commentators, like it was just an awesome experience. Um, I gotta ask you, like, I know you used to TO. What's good? Like,
Why am I
you
not?
got some future plans or?
Well, it was hard. So let me give you just a quick backstory of Rewired. There was another tournament that happened in Arizona, and it was like an up and coming tournament. Um, and the dude like took the prize money, like the entry fees, and then left. The tournament never even happened. And it
Oh,
was
wow.
billing itself to be like a major in Arizona, right? I can't remember the name of it anymore. So my partner and I ran all of Rewired. We started it with the goal of, okay, let's do it as like we want to build the community's trust. We're not going to do that, you know? So he had connections in the Smash world. I had connections in the Street Fighter world, and by combining, we could, do something kind of cool. Our first year, we just had like one room. Because you guys came during Street Fighter 5, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so we actually had 2 years before that, and like the first year had maybe 60 people. Like I had thrown locals that were that big, but just not in a hotel room, you know?
right.
And then the next year we brought out Snake Eyes. It was still Street Fighter 4. And we started scaling it up. And then the last year we said, okay, we're going to make a document online for full transparency so everyone can see where the money goes. Like when you signed up for Rewired, you got to make your own badge, and we would print out the badge for you. And then it would,
It's over there somewhere.
we literally just tried everything in our power to put as much money into that thing that was coming from the community. So we had like, we wrote to Ball's energy drink, and
Dude, that's.
which like wasn't around anymore, right?
I want to tell you a story about balls.
And they
You
were
know what?
like,
I'm gonna
yo,
do it.
we
I'm
will
gonna grab
send
it.
you a pallet of it. All you got to do is send us pictures of you drinking it.
That's
And
awesome.
so they sent us a pallet of energy drink for free. And we're like, okay, you know what? If we're going to be hyped up on this, we're going to do a 24-hour game room. We just need someone to man it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, did all this stuff.
So living in
Um,
Texas, we have a thing out here called QuakeCon, and it's one of the largest LAN parties in the whole United States. It happens like usually in August. And a lot of people don't know what
Got my
balls
rewire
is,
badge.
and
There we go.
balls is like
oh, dude, that makes me fucking
Christ.
smile.
But balls was like is a huge sponsor of QuakeCon. So the fact that somebody else in a different state knows what balls is like, yo, what the
Yeah. So we wanted Rewired to be like a love letter to community, and we wanted to have it have opportunities for people that weren't like the top 8, like at the
Mhm.
time. And so that was like we did little things. If you got on main stage, we had like a Polaroid camera, and you could take a picture and put yourself on the stage.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
we specifically tried to have as many people up there. At the beginning, people do they look for the matches that are gonna be
Yeah.
like the pros, and they're gonna put them up on the main stage.
Yeah.
We were like, who are our out of town guests? Let's put them up on the
Yeah.
stage, no matter how good they are. Um, so yeah, I loved doing that. I hated doing it for 5 because I didn't like the game.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's hard to keep that passion when you're like, I'm not interested in this,
Yeah. Gotta
kind of
run
thing.
finals for a game I do not care about.
yeah, I am a competitor, and I like competing. So suddenly I was like doing TO stuff, but like wasn't really competing, or I kept saying like, oh, I want to get better at this game, and it just like wasn't jiving with me. And I didn't want to like quit, so I played Karen and tried to have fun and hang out with my friends, but TOing became a job. At this point, I like the idea of doing some small scale stuff, and so I actually wanted to front this by you on the podcast because I heard that Arizona did a 5v5 against you
So let's
guys.
pause.
Okay.
Because my final question was, we ran a 5v5 against
Oh,
Arizona, and Colorado busted that ass.
I did not know that this was happening, and I am upset.
We gave you guys the opportunity. It was actually a 7v7. We gave Arizona the opportunity to do it, and Chris and I were expecting like, oh, Driftwood, some of the people we know.
Yeah, what?
And it was a list of people like we didn't know. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it was like, okay, cool. It must be new faces kind of thing. And bro, Colorado, bro.
I have a crew. Yeah, no, I've watched it. And so in getting back to the scene, there's been a couple times where I've made the drive up to Phoenix, play at a store there called the Gaming Zone. That's where we do like tournaments up in Phoenix. It's kind of like their version of our police station. And I'm meeting the homies. There are some new faces, but there are some way good faces that were not in that 5v5.
I'm glad you brought it up because that was actually my last question for the podcast, because I know we have kind of already had conversations behind the scenes about running another one. I'm also working on some other stuff for another event, but I want to I wasn't even on the team. I don't even live in Colorado anymore.
You and I are gonna TO it, and we both get to be on the team.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I want to see the run back, because I'm gonna be honest. I went into this and I thought it was gonna be kind of back and forth, and it was not. That's the nicest way I can say it.
Back in my day, we would train for these things, and I don't know what this new school caliber of play. They don't know. And
we did. So like when we made our team, it was tryouts, dude. Like it was.
That's what we used to do, and I don't know what the process was. I just found out after the fact, and I was like, "You got bodied? Like what?"
I hit somebody up, and I was training with a high MRU to get ready for the match and everything, and like this literally would save me because I was able to like, okay, I know this is like I can do something here, and I was able to make that comeback because when I saw my opponent and I was like looking at matches, I was like, oh, he's like 1900 MR, and at the time my personal best was like 1850. I'm like, oh my god, I was training for him, and oh no, what the hell?
Was it a Big Mac combo? Was that who you were training? All right, so first of all, Big Mac combo doesn't even use Ryu anymore. His Akuma will mess you up.
Oh shit! I remember Big Mac combo was
multiple times. He's hitting me up for matches.
All right, well, trust me.
We're dying. Hold on, I'm gonna switch out batteries. I'm sorry, guys.
That's it.
And then Freezy is really good too.
Freezy's good, but he plays too many characters. So I'm gonna have
I've only seen him play Blanca.
No, I've played his Ed. He plays like 95 characters.
But he's young too, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
And we have a player like that too named Panglocks, and he's the same way. We're like, he's a Geef main, but like, dude plays like the whole cast. I'm like, dude, just like play one or two people and like grind that shit, like kind of thing. So I'm glad you brought this up for real, because like this is a conversation that Chris and I were having, because we wanted to kind of do a run back. Do like an event, and that's one of the things that we're really trying to do this year with like the Marauders as a whole. That's our whole goal.
Like, I'm gonna be cocky. I put Arizona Street Fighter 4 or Tucson Street Fighter 4 on the map after Latif left.
Mm-hmm. That was my job. For sure.
I was like, I'm gonna body everyone in the four. Like the four corners belongs to me. And then I stopped playing. And what has happened?
I just remember because we weren't even from Arizona, and I feel like we came out to visit and we felt like honorary Tucson just because we were like,
oh, you guys are homies.
I remember the Tucson Phoenix rivalry, and it was like, we Tucson, baby. Like, we're not even from Tucson kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're playing against Phoenix and it's Phoenix only, I will cheer for you guys just because.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
But I'm being dead serious. I want to get this run back because that was like, dude, we don't do a ton of streaming, but that's something that we're trying to fix. And I remember we streamed that event and we had over like 100 viewers kind of thing just for Colorado AZ. And it was
because
just
what we
so
do,
hype.
you and I TO match. Whoever wins gets to choose like who goes up first. You know what I mean?
I
There's
could
ways we could do. We
I
can
think
tinker with the
Chris should be
format.
Colorado's representative
Okay.
because I
Okay.
think that is a better match than me and Driftwood.
Look, I'll take both of you on. I
Oh
don't care.
no.
I'm back.
So I think what we should do is
Chris, you're muted.
There we go. My bad.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, I had a couple complainers last time, so I'm literally gonna do the whole Team Colorado all tryouts. So
yeah, I
Nice.
think what we should do is genuinely like get something on the books probably a month out, month and a half ish. That
Yep.
way people have time to play. They can. We did character lock last time because we kind of did it like a UFC fight where it was like, hey, you know who your opponent's gonna be. You have time to prep for it. It's just like a
Oh, did
different
you have like
experience.
line like A versus A, B versus B?
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Got it.
everyone knew ahead of time who they were playing. So that's why I was like, I knew I was fighting Big Mac combo, so I was able to find a stronger you to practice against. But like whatever
But I just thought
format,
that was fun because you go and practice for it. You're like, I know I'm fighting this dude. He's playing this character. I can grind this matchup, and your best versus your best. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna counter pick you because you play this character or whatever kind of thing. So it was all blind picks. So it was like, hey, this is our team. These are our players. And then after both teams submitted their players, it was what character does said player
Who
want to play?
who do they play against? I
Yeah.
like that.
And it was
I'm fine with the same format again. But I'm gonna get everybody in the same room. I'm gonna film us destroying you so you can see all of our reactions. Like in that, I really one thing I like about the community now that show where like they've got one coach and the team that plays against each other. What is the name of it? Like Jared Vicious is in it. He commentates.
is it
Street Fighter League?
Street Fighter League?
Yeah, Street Fighter
Oh,
League.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, and they have everyone has the headsets on so they can, you
Yeah.
hear him coaching everything.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
Street Fighter League this so you guys can get into our heads.
I just want to have this. I mean, this is on, like, this is recorded. So when we come back to reference this, I don't want to like, I don't want to hear anything where like, oh man.
No,
'Cause
you
what-
it.
So what happened last time? So we had 7 people and everybody blind submitted and they had their characters, and Arizona submitted their characters in reverse order. So we had like our weaker players go first and we had it ramp up to like the strongest, and they're like, oh well, we thought it was the other way.
Yeah, but you still won all the matches.
Right. And that's what I was like, well, it doesn't matter because your
Yeah.
best players should have beat our worst players kind of
Right.
thing. If that's the mindset, and that only happened in one match, and that was the Freezy Slugbug match. And it was just like, cool. Every match was, per match one kind of thing. It wasn't just, oh, every set was one or whatever. So it was 5 or 7-0 or whatever. It was like rounds counted, all that. So it gave everybody an opportunity, to compete, and it was bad. It was like a 13-point difference or something like that. So it was like, it doesn't matter what order, even if the order got reversed, because it was reversed for us too, because we were expecting, best versus best, and it kind of got flipped. And so like, I'm ready for the run back, and I've already had people reach out to me to be like, yo, what's good?
I
So
guess
I'm
I
glad
can't go.
you-
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I
agree
can't
on
get no Big Mac
format.
combo practice now because I like we always keep missing each other because
Yeah, we're not
he is
scared.
really strong and I do want to play and Akuma is so fucking annoying, so I do
Yeah.
every time like, but we always miss each other. It'll be like he's practice, like I'll hit him, it says practice, I know that just means he left the game on and went somewhere, and same thing, I'll be like I got an invite and I'm like, actually I'm literally at work, I just had the game on.
Damn. No, I mean, I played him in a long set the other day. We got our Arizona group that plays, and he's just like the nicest dude. I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, can we like play a first to 5 sometime, and like we'll go over tips?" Because he was beating me, and I wanted to get some advice. But I came back like an hour later. He had basically written me like a PhD dissertation of like, "Here's what I'm doing." I'm like, "Oh man." So
Great.
yeah, he's
So
a cool
I think
guy.
what we'll do is we'll get after this is done, we'll get back together, and I know we already got a thread going. We'll just continue in there, and we'll get a date kind of set. And I think that'd be hype because I'm trying to do more big events, and I think that'd be really exciting to to do that, and I don't want to hear no fucking excuses. That's where
Yeah,
I'm
No,
at.
that's all.
look, there's no
I'm not gonna.
excuses, and here's what I'm going to commit to you right now. All right, I'm going to make a trophy, and
Oh,
whoever
I
wins,
appreciate it.
I will literally send it there. I'm gonna have to. It's gonna live in my. I'm making a trophy for my own
Nice.
house
Okay, great.
with the
That's.
names of all the players.
I got my. You clearly
okay.
see. I got my lights right here. I have my cameras. I will do a nice little photo shoot, and I'll be like, and I'll put thank you on the card right in front
I'll
of it.
send you a loser's trophy if you want. If that's what you're
I
talking
think you
about
should
right
make
now.
it wearable for sure. So like when Colorado
Oh,
wins it, we can
I
yeah.
do an
see.
Arizona
Just put it on a
trip, and
big
we'll just
chain, and we'll just pass the chain around to King
walk
Colorado.
in with it
Flavor
around.
Flav style. All right.
All right, this was an absolute blast. I feel like we could keep the shit talking banter going on for another 40 minutes, to be honest. So I
You
feel like
beat them, not me. So like I don't have anything
I
to
beat
lose.
you.
Okay, well that's true. You did body me. But
so I just want to say a huge thanks for you being on, because I know I wrote you. It was like 4 months ago, and then you came back with me like the
Oh,
old
yeah.
grandpa response, like "What's Discord?"
I'm totally a boomer. It sucks. I'm getting used to Discord. Like the whole playing on PC, it's all
Yeah,
brand new to me.
it's
Yeah,
so
so I'm
weird to
glad
be
you
on
wrote back
like
and you're like, "Hell yeah, dude, I'm down."
8
Because I was
billion
like, "Damn, he doesn't want to
discords.
do that. I thought this would be fun as shit." And
No, I
so,
didn't know how to change between servers and DMs. Like that's literally all it was.
well, we'll teach you Discord and we'll teach you Street Fighter too.
No, I was gonna say I'll teach you Street Fighter, but okay, cool.
It's
So it was a
funny,
blast to have you on,
honestly.
for real.
If Kim
Thank you
was
for having
better,
me.
just the way you talk, you would be
Yo,
an
you couldn't
excellent
beat
Kim.
me until your character got hella buffs.
I
Like
would please. We didn't play
it was
until we
like
had
one
buffs.
day into me learning the new upgrades. That's not
Hey,
gonna
we didn't
last.
play until I had buffs. But that's like we.
That's
Hey,
what I'm saying. You
if we
got
wanna,
buffs, and you're like, oh, I won.
we wanna go back, like find vanilla. I'll play vanilla. I'll play vanilla 6.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I just think it should be Chris versus Nick on the AZ
First
versus
and
Colorado
I'll
team.
do it. Make that the main card.
All right, let's do it.
I'm
I
with
mean,
it. I think it would be
we were already
hype as
talking
hell.
about the SBO.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would love that. I will say,
We have
in a
SBO.
moment
I don't
of
know if you know
non-shit
this, Nick,
talk,
but
you
we
are
have our
very
own
good.
SBO. So ours is
do?
called Space Battle Opera, same name but a little different. And basically what we do, because we do like our community nights every Thursday night in Hub 13, and once a month we were doing where it was like a main card type of thing. So I would take like 3 to 4 players and they would do like head-to-head battles kind of thing. And that's how the Arizona versus Colorado thing kind of came, where it was like, yo, what if we did like a bigger version of that kind of thing? And that's essentially what happened. I think this is too hyped to do it as an SPO. I want to see this as the Arizona Colorado,
All right.
because I had an absolute blast doing that, running it, watching it. All of it was great. So I definitely want to do that again.
I'm down.
That's all right. I'll find some. I'll get ready. Because I know how good you. I was like when you're playing. I was like,
Okay.
I know he's not up to snuff. I know that. So like, because I know what you are when you're at full power. So one, I was definitely.
And it's not my first
So-
match to train for. I love having a reason to play a lot. Just like I have stories to tell, but we've already done the whole podcast, so
Yeah. For sure. So we always send it off the same way. Of course, thank you, Nick, for joining us. It was an absolute blast. I always love having you, having good conversations, hanging out, all that good stuff. So I'll let Chris send us off.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the first episode of 2025. Gonna be killing it like we did last year. I don't think we missed a drop last year. So we gotta keep doing it. Look out for all the events we have coming on. And of course, join us on Thursdays, Hub 13. Sometimes I even be in there. Sometimes I be sleep on the couch, let's be real. But I still coming through. And as always, what about peace? Peace.